Alright, so today we're going to talk about domain and range. This is what you used in your activity yesterday, that's why we did it. So let's go ahead and add the date, page number, and add this stuff in your table of contents. Make sure you get your learning target down. Okay, so I printed this off for you. This is what you need to know. Domain talks about all of your input values, which is usually your x values. Remember, input is x, output is y. Your range is your y values. And the way I remember that is domain, range in alphabetical order, just like x, y. Okay, so we're going to use the concept that we learned yesterday from the game in order to do this. So you need to determine the 4 numbers needed to defeat this city. So the left boundary is -6. The next boundary that we're going to talk about is your right boundary, and your right boundary is here at 4. Then we're going to talk about your up boundary, which is at 3. Then your down boundary is right here at -2. So that's what you did yesterday in the game. And the reason we did that is so we could go into the concept of domain and range. That's basically what it is. So domain, make sure to make a note of this, these 2 numbers are how we find your domain. Because domain is x values. So from this -6 to this 4 is where I have a function sitting. It sits from -6 to 4. So there's a couple different ways to write that. The first way would be a compound inequality. -6 is less than or equal to all my x values is less than or equal to 4. Another way to write that is an interval notation. The lowest x value I have is -6. The highest x value I have is 4. Okay, let's talk range. Range is your y values. And these y values went from -2 to +3. So these 2 represent my range. And again, these are my y values. So the lowest y value I had was -2. So I would write my y values go from -2, being the lowest, to the highest, which is +3. Then I would write it in interval notation. Y's from -2 to 3. So you could represent it either way. Either this way for domain and range, or in interval notation. So let's try this on. The domain is my x values, and that would be my left boundary all the way to my right boundary. So this one goes from -1, and domain is my x values, to 5. And if I wanted to write it in interval notation, I would write it's from -1 to 5. My range, the lowest it goes is 0. And we're talking about y values. And the highest, the upper boundary, is at 6. So this goes from 0 to 6. The rest of them you're going to practice on your own.